glad you could all make it. I'm Phil Miller, the first selectman of Essex and the state representative for the 36th District. And I have with me our second selectman, Norman Needleman, and Stacia Rice-Libby, who I'm going to introduce as our new team. I just want to say that just about 8 years ago tonight, I stood here also in the pending rain. In fact, we did run inside, but it did open up. And I was telling Lois Ely that a number of the people who were here then are no longer with us. People like Josephine Bombassi and Ernie Cook and Jerome Catone, some people who had given many, many years of their volunteer service to the town. And I hope in the impending 8 years we've done well by them. And we've done a lot in the last 8 or 10 years. We've really revamped this whole town hall. We came into office 8 years ago on the heels of a failed school project, which unfortunately did not gather the confidence of people. We went back to the drawing board. Since then, we've had 2 very successful school projects where you invest as you need to. We've sought and successfully gotten a number of good grants, and not any of those grants has it ever interfered with our autonomy, and it's enabled us to invest in our infrastructure and to get a lot of good things done. We've quintupled our town's reserves, and our finances are very stable. We've enhanced Essex's reputation regionally and become the town of record and the town of lead in a number of regional consortiums. And recently, one of the most really gratifying things, our local Valley Regional High School was just named to one of the nation's top 500 high schools, which is a huge accomplishment that so many people right here have worked so diligently at for so long. And it's about time. And we know that this is going to be a tough municipal race. We know the other side is going to come out with another team that will perhaps say that things need to improve and we're the people to do it. But in all actuality, you couldn't ask for a better team right now. And in all reality, our town right now is very strong, and this town has a great future, and there's nothing that anyone can say that can take that away from us, because we're going to make that happen for sure. I do want to say that I think this is the very best and the strongest team for a Board of Selectmen that has ever been presented to this town, and I think that will leave people with a really great choice. They'll put together a lot of good practice to pay as we go all along, to put a little away for capital expenses, to have aggressive maintenance and refurbishment of all our equipment, which has served us well, and this team will make us even stronger as we go along. We have one of the lowest mill rates anywhere. Our taxation is very, very reasonable. It's one of the lowest per household spendings anywhere, and we don't give people a lot of elaborate frills, just good service and decent people. I do want to say that right now, in a time throughout America when a lot of the public's attention is on people who are in public service, whether they be federal, state, or even local employees, that I just want to say that we have a very good group of men and women who serve this town. I think we have a first-rate teaching corps and an educational enterprise that is green and growing and just getting better all the time. We always feel that we can do a little bit better and that something more can be done, and I don't think that attitude will ever leave. But right now we have a good team to take us forward. Both of these people are thoughtful and solid. They're generous to other people's ideas. They empower good citizen efforts already. They encourage inclusion, and both of them are very magnanimous in spirit. They both possess patience and tolerance. They're both resolute in their leadership, are loaded with skills, and they're united and always looking for the town's best interests. I've known Norman Needleman now for 25 years. I've known him as a good friend. I think he's the most accomplished second selectman our town has ever had. As you know, he's built a wonderful business, Tower Laboratories, from scratch and made it into the world's #1 manufacturer of effervescent products, things that fizz, right here in town. And in a time when Connecticut has lost manufacturing, he's gained manufacturing and brought it here. And where have you seen that lately but around here, maybe? And Stacia has grown up in this area her whole life, and has contributed to a lot of good efforts. Both Norman and Stacia have dealt with family issues that have made them better people and very magnanimous in their thoughts and word and deed. And so it's my pleasure to introduce to you the next first and second selectmen. Again, I think one of the finest teams that has ever been given to this town for their consideration. I give you our second selectman and future first selectman, Norman Needleman.
Thank you, Phil. Oh my God. I will never be able to speak as well as Phil does. He's just an amazing person to follow on a stage. But I have enjoyed serving for 8 years, and I have, for the first time in those 8 years, actually prepared something. But before I actually say anything, I would like to take a moment and thank our current state senator, Eileen Daly, who just came. Thank you, Eileen. Great record of service for the area and great friend and supporter. So I'm going to start. If I go too long, hit me, knock me out, stop me. Thank you all for coming as I officially announce my candidacy for the job of First Selectman, as well as introduce Stacia Libby as my running mate for the job of Second Selectman. For the past 8 years, I have worked as a team, Phil and I have worked as a team to maintain the quality of life we have all come to enjoy in the 3 villages of our town. 8 years ago, he requested the Democratic Town Committee nominate me as his running mate, and the Town Committee trusted his judgment in that choice. I am asking the Democrats to trust in my judgment and also choose Stacia as my running mate. Phil and I proved to be a great team, each bringing unique skills to the table that allowed us to make so much progress on so many fronts. Stacia and I will also be a great team. My experience in town government, as well as in starting, building, and running a business, as well as Stacia's energy and desire to continue to help improve our community, as she has been doing on the Essex Park and Rec Commission, the Iverton Library Board of Directors, and the Essex Community Fund, will indeed allow our town to look forward to a municipal government that accomplishes a lot with a minimal budget. We will continue to improve the efficiency of the day-to-day operations of the town government. Work hard to encourage continued volunteer activity by helping facilitate the many volunteers that comprise our board and commissions, as well as work with the substantial number of nonprofit, quasi-public, and volunteer organizations that provide our town with a range of services at a cost that is far below what it would cost if the town had to provide those services directly. Organizations like the fire department, our ambulance association, our visiting nurses, and our 2 wonderful and unique libraries are just a few that we would work to encourage and support. Additionally, we will create and review with our residents a long-term capital plan for the town so everyone understands and has a say in prioritizing where we want to spend our hard-earned tax dollars. This would include all town-owned capital from parks, roads, sidewalks, equipment, etc. We'll continue to aggressively seek granting opportunities, something that no First Selectman has ever done as well as Phil, wherever possible, and work hard to make the most of the revenue we receive from all sources, be they state or local. It is anticipated that one of the criticisms and or questions about my candidacy will be my commitment to the job, given the fact that I already have a full plate in running an existing business and my involvement in a myriad of other activities within the community. To this concern, I have a couple of comments. There's an old adage that says, when you want to get something done, ask a busy person. I've always been able to juggle a number of responsibilities, and if elected to the role of First Selectman, will certainly be the first priority. Having a full plate and living my work 24/7 is nothing new for me. And as many of you already know, I have a hard time sitting still for any amount of time anyway. As far as my business goes, I have an experienced, capable management team in place that already handles all the day-to-day activities. In fact, many of them are donating money and hope and pray that I get this job so I come in even less. So I don't really see it as a problem taking this job on. And finally, given the experience as a member of the Board of Selectmen, I know what it takes to run this town. There will be no learning curve, and I know I can step in and be productive on day one. Most importantly, you have my absolute word that the role of First Selectman will always be my #1 priority, and there will never be an issue where my other interests and responsibilities get in the way of serving should the town see fit to elect me. We will continue in the tradition of putting partisan politics aside and seek out the best candidates to serve on our boards and commissions, as well as help facilitate the projects we work on. I have long felt that the partisan rancor that has infected the broader political arena is divisive and does nothing to enhance the quality of life in our country, our state, and especially our town. A lack of civility has come to dominate the discourse, and it has crept into local politics. Whoever runs for office and whoever the voters choose to manage the affairs of this town should pledge not to allow this nasty spirit to continue. In closing, thank you all for coming out this evening, and please show your support for our entire team at our town committee next Monday and eventually in November. Thank you. I actually hate reading speeches, and as soon as Ruth came over, I knew I had to spit out my chewing gum. That's why I walked over there. She's always been telling me that. I want to take a minute and give Stacia a chance to speak. She's a great lady, highly energetic, will do a great job on the board, will hopefully give me an exit strategy so I don't have to do this for too long, eventually taking over as the first selectman of the town. There's Stacia.
I also have a speech prepared. I just not hold it now.
Okay, you can do it.
I also have a speech prepared. I'm going to read to you. I consider it an honor to be chosen by Norm Needleman as his running mate in the upcoming town election. I would like to thank him for his confidence in me to manage our town government. This is not a role that I take lightly, and have given much consideration into how to best serve our community. As some of you might be aware, I have been a member of the Republican Town Committee. My views have always been that of a moderate, and as my political views have evolved, I realize that good governance is more than about just winning. It's about compromise, recognition, negotiation, and final outcomes that reflect the views of those who have elected us. I feel that our town's political climate has become increasingly polarized. But through it all, Norm has worked across party lines and done things for the best interest of our community. I look forward to joining him in that effort. Now it is time to seek out common ground rather than our differences. By listening to all viewpoints, communicating and working together, I know that we can continue to address the many challenges that our community faces. I'd like to thank you all again for coming out, and I look forward to the upcoming election season.
I'd like Eileen to come up and say a couple of words, and I would also ask that our Deputy Secretary of State, Jamie Spallone, who's here, also come up if he has a minute. I know his wife is waiting for him, so he only has a minute.
That will make me be incredibly brief, too, so Jamie can get home. I have worked closely with Norm for a number of years. He's been the treasurer of my campaign. But he's also been a dear, dear friend. And I've seen how hard he has worked for the town of Essex. And I know that work will continue unabated as first selectman, and we'll all be the beneficiary of that work. I think we're so fortunate that Norm has made this decision, and I hope the town committee gives its full nomination next week. Jamie?
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm glad I was able to join you for a few minutes this afternoon. I'll step back to avoid the feedback from the machine. And I just want to say that Norman Needleman is the right person at the right time to follow my good friend Phil Miller in this important position. I've had the pleasure of working with both of them over the last several years when I served as a state representative. And I think that you have a good team here to lead your ticket, and it's a very exciting time and very difficult and challenging time here in Connecticut, as Senator Daley and Representative Miller well know. And I think that this team will help Essex weather this storm, and thank you for a few moments this evening. Good luck.
I think that we'd just like to mingle in the crowd a little bit, and I want to thank everybody that came again tonight. My other half, Jackie and Lulu, my son and his new wife,